Hi, I'm John Edwards, and this is A View from the Pew. I read the readings today, the first reading from the letter to the Corinthians, and then also the gospel. And through both of them, I just kept hearing this theme of training. Paul says, "Woe to me if I do not preach the gospel." And he talks about how he's afraid of running this race and running it aimlessly. He's talking about losing the prize of heaven. That's our prize as a Christian, as a Catholic, is to win the prize of heaven, not this perishable prize that athletes win in a race. Jesus talks about in the gospel removing the beam from your eye instead of pointing out the splinter in someone else's. Well, how do we do these things? How do we preach the gospel? How do we win the prize of heaven? How do we take the wooden beam out of our own eye? By training. It's funny. Everything else we do in life requires training, and we spend time training at it to be good at it, to be successful at it. From the time that we want to try to ride a bike, we train with training wheels to try to learn how to ride that bike. When we go to school, we go to school for years to train how to learn how to do something so we can get a job. And then when we get a job, we train to learn how to do that job. We train for all the sports that we ever played so that we could be good at them, we could excel at them. We train for marathons and races and everything else. But the one thing that we don't consistently train at is our faith. The most important thing in our life, being good at this, is more important than anything else. Being good at being a disciple of Jesus Christ. But we don't put the time into it, right? Paul says, run as to win. Do not run aimlessly. But I know in my life, and I can look around and see in the world today, there's so many of us that are running aimlessly. We're not running to win. We're running to keep from getting disqualified, right? Just to show up so that we have a chance at maybe going to heaven, and we definitely are trying to keep ourselves from going to hell. But winning the prize of heaven is not about not going to hell. It's about doing the things that God has called us to do here and to train and to do them well, to bring others to his son, Jesus Christ, so that they could come to know him and they could be saved. So that we could do for others the way that Christ asked us to. And we could be successful in running that race. But it takes training, it takes desire, and it is more important than anything else we'll ever do. All the hours we spend at the gym, all the hours we spend on training for our jobs or for school or for riding that bike or for whatever, none of it is going to matter in the end, near as much as training to be a disciple of Jesus Christ and getting it right. So take a look at your life today. Look at what you're doing in your life. How am I training to be a disciple? How am I training to preach the gospel the way that Paul talks about? Because we're all called to do that. This isn't just for priests and for preachers, and it's for everybody. We're all supposed to live out and preach the gospel in our lives. So ask yourself, how am I doing that? What methods of training am I using? Am I going to daily mass? Am I going to adoration? Am I spending time in the Word? Am I working on my prayer life? Am I doing things for others? All these things are activities no different than going to a gym and working out and doing the various machines or different workouts to train your body in a certain way. These are the things that we need to do to train ourselves to be the disciples that Christ calls us to. Otherwise, we're going to be running aimlessly and we're going to wind up with a perishable prize instead of the prize of heaven. Thanks for your time, and God bless.